I'm glad you brought up the Spin article. How was it framed? I mean, because I got to imagine if I'm you and I've got Bob Stinson in my band, Spin's coming to do a profile of the band. This is going to be great. It's going to open up the doors for us to go national and
Right.
that article is not about the band at all.
No.
Was that the way it was positioned to you? It's like, oh, we're going to do a profile on your band, or
Well, I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was pitched as a band profile. I mean, I was obviously included in the first round of interviews. It was Charles Aaron interviewed Bob and I at the CC Club. I mean, it was, they definitely didn't show their hand and say we're going to do kind of like a sad story about this washed up former Replacements guitar player. It wasn't pitched as that.
kudos to them for that.
When we got when we were doing the interview, when I was doing the interview with Bob and Charles Aaron, it was, pretty much all questions steered, kind of about or around the Replacements. And I remember I was kind of trying to downplay it, and I don't know if I would be described as brash or anything, but just kind of, if I was asked, if I was a big Replacements, I would, like, not really, whatever. I think I said I wouldn't say I wasn't a fan, but I was trying to tone that down and kind of steer it towards something other than that, right? But, and then of course, when Bob did additional interviews with Charles Aaron while he was here, that's evidently. I didn't, and I didn't find out about this until it, it was published, that, Bob had apparently, asked him for money to go buy heroin or something. And all of that was in the article. Yeah. I remember Bob coming to tell me, break the news to me. And he was kind of a little embarrassed about it, but it's like, at the same time, he's like, shouldn't have said all that stuff to him then, Bob, but
when you get this, Bob comes to you and tells you this. I mean, does your stomach fall a little bit, or you just sort of think, oh, fuck?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a horror show, especially when you get to the last section of it. And it was just like, what? He did what?
The following reenactment is from the article, Hold My Life, Bob Stinson Regrets. From Spin Magazine, June 1993.
Bob ducked under a bridge and slid out onto a section not covered with snow where he could see fish through the ice. I was afraid he was going to slip and fall butt over beer bottles again, like he had earlier in the day on the sidewalk in front of his apartment. But he kept his balance, excitedly pointing toward a group of men seated in lawn chairs up ahead.
Do you know what they're doing?
I nodded.
Oh, man, I love ice fishing.
Then, just as quickly as the fish darted under the ice, Bob's mind switched subjects.
Have you ever done heroin?
Before I could answer, he continued.
Ever use a needle?
I shook my head no.
You can get some really good, cheap stuff around here. I don't really do it, but if you wanted to, we could get some and do it, later if you wanted.
He almost sounded like he was asking me out on a date. And I didn't want to say no, because this was the first real gesture of, well, I don't know, trust or friendship or something that Bob had extended. When I finally said no, I knew he felt like I was judging him.
He had oddly done a few interviews around that time where, talking openly about whatever, heroin and coke and stuff that even people that normally do, use don't usually talk about, right? And he was just being so open about it, and I was like, Bob, what are you doing? And then the pictures they used for Spin were pretty bad. I mean, especially like the super close up under the direct sunlight. Yeah. The most annoying thing about it was Charles Aaron came to Minneapolis to, we were playing the entry with Bash and Pop. I think it was sold out. I mean, it would have been more embarrassing if we were playing in front of like 8 people, and it was crickets, and he sees us like having a horrible night. But I mean, it was like a sold out show, and everyone felt good about it. It was
Wow.
I suppose I grabbed the gun from under the pillow where I keep it. He tried to take it away from me. And next I knew there was a shot and he was mumbling something about a doctor. Oh, now leave me alone. Leave me alone.
So you guys presumably went back into the studio, is that right?
in August of '93 to record 5 more songs and kind of finish final touches on the previous batch and then mix, and everything. So it was 2 sessions. I would say it was definitely under a week for sure.
Congratulations on finally getting the record out. Where has it been, Mike?
Well, the master tapes have been in my possession for probably 10 years. Like Sunshine gave them to me a while back. I think when she was moving or something. But yeah, it's also been mastered, and it was mastered to a CD and ready to be pressed back in 94 or 95. So mainly in limbo, I guess. It's kind of funny that I've, after all these years, to kind of be putting the red or the Bleeding Hearts hat back on again. It's like, because I'm, some of that stuff I look back on, it's kind of sort of foreign to me, like that songwriting, like Imagination or something, that the really Stonesy ones, it's like, it's cool, but I mean, it's like,
You're not in your 20s anymore.
I'm not that same kid.
Yeah.
It's a great record.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad it exceeded your low expectations from the Spin.
Well,
I say that just jokingly, but
it's really great rock and roll, and I'm glad it's coming out.
oh, thank you. I remember Bob kind of commenting when we were listening to some of those playbacks in the studio. He's like, "We sound like Richards and Wood."
That's not bad. Not from where I sit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Some of Bob's guitar playing on it were, is pretty straight ahead rock and roll on there. There's a few good, great Bob moments. It's funny because we've been playing these songs again, and some of these solos I'm trying to figure out what Bob did, and almost every time there's like a weird, it has a weird sound to it. It's because he's kind of starting the lick in like the wrong position. He's playing the wrong scale, and then he bends it to make it sound right at the end or something.
That's funny.
So I've been studying some of those Bobisms lately. It's kind of fun.
Bobisms.
That's really cool. Yeah, that's great.
That's awesome. Let's step away from Bob for a sec. The other guys in the band. Another Bob